So, can you tell me a little bit about the cotton?
I can tell you about my grandfather. My grandfather was born in, I think, in 1891, something like that, 1892 or something, one of those years. And he lived with his mother and father. His father died at 38 years old. His name was Jesse Thomas Lamm, the grandfather's father. His name was Jesse Thomas Lamm. He died at 38 years old. And so he left his mother, whose name was uh, her name was Kate McFall Ladd. McFall was her last name. Anyway, she had three boys, and she was living. She was by herself, so she remarried to another man named Mr. Houston, I believe it was. His name was either Houston or she married another man. And my grandfather Lamb did not like him, so my grandfather Lamb decided he was going to get his own job and go to work. So after high school, he got a job working in the telegraph office in Wilson, and he saw farmers coming in to sell their cotton bales that they had harvested off their farms and selling them to the big mills like Cone Mills in Greensboro or Harriet Henderson Mills over in Henderson, North Carolina, or the mills over in Dunn, and I can't think of all those mills. But anyway, he ended up being the largest supplier of denim, for denim pants in the world, for cotton. So he would go all over everywhere and buy cotton and have it shipped to his warehouses in Wilson. He started off with one warehouse. He was about 16 to 17 years old. After he's got one warehouse, he would work in the telegraph office. He would telegraph to the mills all the grades of cotton that he had in his warehouses, and they would buy it. He had trucks. He bought trucks, small trucks at first, and then bigger trucks to deliver the cotton to the mills. And the mills took the cotton and spun it into cloth so they could use it for denim. As the war came over, World War One, the government contacted my grandfather, the United States government, and wanted him to supply cotton to make uniforms for the people in the Army for World War One, for the United States Army. So he started collecting cotton. He got cotton from Louisiana, California, Turkey, and of course all of eastern North Carolina and eastern Virginia where they were growing cotton. He built one warehouse after another. He ended up with 18 warehouses full of cotton. Anyway, he sold the cotton to the mills and was very successful at doing that. And along the way, he married my grandmother, who was born in 1892, I think she was. And her name was Ophelia Riddick Lamb. Her name was Riddick Lamb. And so Riddick was her maiden name. And that was the Riddick family that, was part of our family. And then so she and he had the first child in 1915, the second child in 1917, that second child was my daddy, Riddick Lamb. The third child was Kate McFall Lamb, named after her grandmother. Then the next one was, was Jack Ralph Lamb, who was my Uncle Jack, my daddy's brother. He never married, never had any children. And then his brother, who was Jimmy Lamb, or James Gray Lamb, and he lived in Wilson. He also went to work in the cotton mills, cotton warehouse with my daddy. Anyway, then the last child was Harry Linwood Lamb. He was born in 1927, and he has 6 children. So what happened was my grandfather took the telegraph job and expanded it. He put his own telegraph in his own office, and then he could telegraph the cotton mills and tell them what grades of cotton he had so they could buy it and spin it into yarn and spin it into material to make blue jeans and uniforms for the Army. And then he did that all the way to 1950. He died in 1950, but he left 3 children, 3 sons in the cotton business. My daddy was born Riddick Lamb. My uncle was the oldest child. He was born in 1915. He was the president of the company, and he was the oldest. And so then he and my daddy and my Uncle Jimmy, who was the 4th child, I believe, was the one maybe he was the 5th child. But anyway, they ran the cotton company. And then The cotton company stayed in existence until 1978, I believe. So even between 1978 and 1980, they closed it. My daddy died in 1983, and when Daddy died in 1983, they were winding down the cotton company. But anyway, my grandfather had been dead since 1950. His son Riddick, my father, died in 1983. My Uncle Billy died right after my daddy in about 1990, and his wife, Aunt Linda, died in 1990. And then the next one was Jimmy, and Jimmy stayed alive until 2013. He died in 2013. Same time my mother died. So what else you want?
I think that's about it for this one.
Okay.